Hello, folks. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and I have another great show planned for us. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the supernatural horror of the cryptids and having some fun. But first, let me show off some artwork from my own upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs, first, okay? So, let me do that. Having some fun. But first, and so let me do that. Just a moment, folks. Now, let me get a share screen, or rather, maybe I should do this first. Go over here, be right with you. Let me do this. A moment, folks. And I'll be right with you. I just got to do this real quick. Do that. Go over here. All right. Do this. I'm right with you. Just a moment. Yeah, that'll do. But then we'll look at some, look at some Indiegogos before we get on to my stream and stuff. So let me do this real quick and stuff like that. Just a moment. Let me get this right here. This right here. Then we have to this right there, and yeah. All right. Then we go to share screen, and all right. Here is my this is my extreme 90s cover for my graphic novel Scumdogs. Scumdogs is my graphic novel. It's a parody comic book. I parody the cartoons from the 80s. You'll see a lot of characters. I'll remind you of those characters from the 80s. You're going to love it. It's going to be a fun book. Scumdogs, the actual title characters, are supervillains who want to take over the universe. Let's see. They're led by, you can see the two main characters, Deathmug and Buick Starpoon. Deathmug is the leader of the Scumdogs, and Buick Starpoon is the leader of is a captain in the Space Forces who opposes him. Deathmug is an arrogant dictator who wants to rule the world. He's the leader of the Scumdogs. The Scumdogs used to be pro athletes who competed in sporting events in the future held with superhuman monsters as the pro athletes. They're called Scum and Dogs because they transformed themselves into superhuman monsters to compete in these sports for money. See, they're Scum and Dogs for doing it. They transform themselves either through science or through some more esoteric means into a superhumanly powerful beast or monster to compete to compete in these events. They did it all for fame and fortune, so you get the idea they're not exactly the nicest guys around. But what happens when they get banned from sports? Well, they decide to take over the universe. Deathmug is an arrogant dictator who wants to rule the world. He's the purple guy over here with the metal mask. He's based on various villains from 80s cartoons. You can see he's got a skull face like Skeletor from He-Man. He's also like the villains of G.I. Joe, the leaders of Cobra. Like Cobra Commander, he's got a metal mask. Like Serpentor's got gold on him, and he's purple like the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. While his arch enemy Buick Starpoon is the guy with the pink pompadour hair and the green uniform, who's basically a parody on the military G.I. Joe kind of characters. He's a no-nonsense military guy who's so arrogant he never admits he's wrong, even though he is doing wrong and keeps basically doing something until it basically blows up. Now he's also a parody of the space opera kind of hero as well. In this, you notice his uniform. Anyone wearing a similar uniform to him as part of his team in the Space Forces. As I said, he's a parody of the space opera kind of hero as well because the way he looks and dresses. So you get the idea of that. Now the other members of his team in the Space Forces you can see as well. Over here we have this guy named Roadhog. The guy with the mohawk over here is named Roadhog. He's his military specialty, because they're all G.I. Joe parodies basically. They each have a military specialty they do in the military that they were basically did when they were in the military. His military specialty is that he's an army guy. Before anything else, he was part of the army, just that. Then we have this guy over here. Then we have this Yeah. Then we have this bald guy with a gun over here in the blue uniform. His name is Beach Pounder. His military specialty is that he's a Marine, just another Marine. While we have this guy back here in the red uniform driving that vehicle, his name is Blast Tank. He's a tanker. That's his military specialty. He drives around a tank. Now, this cover is one of 3 different variant covers you'll be able to back when my Indiegogo goes live and stuff. So you have that to look forward to. All right. It looks pretty good, huh? Now let's look at some more characters. Here we have Girl Friday. Girl Friday is another member of the Wild Rangers. The Wild Rangers is the name of Buick Starpoon's team in the Space Forces. She was assigned to work directly under Buick Starpoon because while the Wild Rangers fight the scum dogs and save the universe, they're just morons who destroy stuff. I mean, they destroy everything around them, saving the day. So, to head off criticism, her superiors in the Space Forces assigned Girl Friday as Buick Starpoon's second in command, and she's basically there just to sit him and basically try and direct him into areas where he would do less damage. And she hates him. She hates her job because she feels like her career in the military is over because she's basically little more than just a sitter. By the way, folks, hit that like button for me. It helps me fight the algorithm. The more people that see my videos means the quicker my graphic novel Scumdogs comes out to you. I work on my book every day, and when it's out, it'll be up on Indiegogo, so go back Scumdogs when it's out. Let's see over here. Here we have Deathmug's henchmen, because in all 80s cartoons, the main villain of the cartoon would have henchmen, and these are my henchmen. These are my idiots. They'd be total idiots and stuff. The blue guy with the top, the pink guy down here is Sloppy, and the blue guy up here with the top head is Murdermouth. There are a couple of idiots that do everything Deathmug says, but they keep blowing stuff up. They're just a parody of every henchman you've ever seen. You're going to love them when you read about them. They are great. By the way, folks, hit that like button for me because it helps me fight the algorithm. So more people can see my content. It really helps me fight the algorithm. So my graphic novel Scumdogs comes out all the sooner. Hit that bell and hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications. And please go share this video on Twitter and Facebook. Here we have Hair Metal Doctor. Hair Metal Doctor is a parody of a mad scientist. He's a mad scientist crossed over with a hair metal musician because it's cool, because he's great. He basically thinks of all the stuff the Scumdogs use to try and take over the universe. He does it while being who he is, Hair Metal Doctor, and that's awesome. And here we have Miss Rusty Melons, who's basically a parody of the Baroness from G.I. Joe. But unlike the Baroness from G.I. Joe, she only became a villain for fun. She's only doing evil. She's only being a villain to have a good time, to have fun. She is a villain just to have fun. Now, the Hair Metal Doctor pinup and the Miss Rusty Melons pinup will be included with other pinups in my graphic novel for you when you back it on Indiegogo when it's out. But I will also get these pinups out to you on T-shirts from Crypto Fashion as soon as I'm able to make them. So look out for those as well. Now we looked at my artwork and stuff like that. Let's go over here and exit out of these. Now, we're going to be looking at supernatural cryptid stories tonight, various stories I've found. We should be having some fun. Let me go over here. Have you guys hit that? Ooh, you've already hit that a few times, folks. Thank you. That looks very good. Let me go over here, and we'll go to Indiegogo first, look at if there's anything new. First Wave Cyberfrog action figure is made $470, $363, while Stomp 2 is made $626. Let's refresh this to see if these books have made any more money. Blue Bombshells at $29,805. Earthbound Part 2 has made $67,690. Tragedy has made quite a bit of money. Let's see. Perfect 10 issue 2 has made $15,307. Over $15,000. Now, God Like the Romulus Saga looks good. It made $132,000. Well, looks, yeah. Dig Two Graves graphic novels made $78. That looks pretty good as well. God Like the Romulus Saga has made $132, $280. Kingsblade, not bad. Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog Magnetic Portfolio has made $103,617. Final Bosses made $42,000. Let's go down here. Jack the Ripper Vampire Hunter from Mandy Simmers has made over 26,690. Mavericks Origins has made 12,295. Yeah. 94 Rich Charlie's Wars made $27,081. Cyberfrog First Wave Action Figures is at still at 470, 641 with 19 days left. You can back these. Ooh, before I do that, Andy Smith's First Man Learning Curve has made 16,947. First Wave Cyberfrog action figures looks good. Modern Cyber. You can back each of these for $40, except for the Vispid action figure. It's bigger, so it's going to cost you $75. You can get 90s. You can get the 90s Cyberfrog action figure to get Cyberfrog when he looked the way he looked back in the 90s for $40. You can get the Heather Swan action figure for $40 each. And you can get modern Cyberfrog action figure for $40. All of them look good. This looks like a good campaign. It's got 19 days left. Each of these action figures is fully articulated and looks great. These action figures are equal to anything you can buy in a store now, and they are awesome looking. Cyberfrog action figure looks great. Now, we looked at this for a while. Maybe go for a few more minutes. All right. Looked at this. Let me look at a few other Indiegogos real quick. Here's First Man. Or I could look at some, maybe down here. Knife Hand graphic novel from our boy Zach. The new Jawbreakers graphic novel is out. Knife Hand must rescue the Jawbreakers from a death trap inside of a floating castle, and there's the artwork. The artwork in this book looks good. You can back this book for $25, and you have other perks as well. You can get a Ninjas 2-pack, get Rock and Roll Ninja plus the other for $50, or you can get the Jawbreakers 4-pack, get all of the Jawbreakers books you want for $100, or rather get 4 of them. Get the Knife Hand as well as Jawbreakers. The other Jawbreakers graphic novels for $100. Let's get it. The Knife Hand story is going to be 22 pages long, along with a backup story called Garrison, which is going to be 26 pages long. So you're getting a good graphic novel with 2 stories in it. Let's read. Knife Hand is a mutant ninja with the ability to generate energy blades from his hands that can cut through anything. As a boy, he was kidnapped and held for ransom, his wealthy father refused to pay the kidnappers, so they sold him to a ninja clan. After years of brutal training, he acquired the power of the Knife Hand. After that, he went AWOL, searching for his father to get revenge, but the ninja clan never stopped hunting him to get him back, so he joined the Jawbreakers in order to use them as a gang to protect him, and his disdain for his teammates is unknown to them, but as much as he hates them, he needs them, so when the rest of the team is kidnapped, it is up to Knife Hand to rescue them. And this looks like a great looking book. The artwork looks like Metal Gear Solid. This is based on various comic books from the 80s, and it just looks as well as other stuff. And it is beautiful, just a beautiful looking book. And as I said, the Knife Hand story is 22 pages long, and the Garrison story is 26 pages long. Garrison is a backup story. It's basically what if G.I. Joe and Cobra had to work together and rescue their teammates from another terrorist organization? You'll see, it's not exactly G.I. Joe, but you'll see characters that will remind you of G.I. Joe. And it looks awesome. That's Knife Hand, the new graphic novel from Richard Mayer. Going back it on Indiegogo, it looks great. Now, we've been at this a while. Maybe I should go out and look at some supernatural cryptid stories. The reasons why big alien cats of the UK should be characterized under supernatural. Should we do that one? But there are a few other stories I want to read first. Unexplained activities surrounding objects and his only spirit attachments. We could look at that one. I mean, that's about this stuff. Yeah, let's read this one first. Another purchase of an antique store results in strange paranormal activity. Instead of being objects attached by spirits, it seems to be an earthbound energy. A family member brought this object to an antique store, Image and Link, who looked at it. and walked about 20 feet away from it. Then was drawn back to the object, looked at it closer, and it was a great price, and decided to buy it. After bringing it home today, well, 8/20, well, the 8th of 2021. It sat in the garage for a few hours. Later on, she went outside and to clean it and wash it out and brought it inside the home into her room near the kitchen and left the object there on the table. She took several photos of the object on the table, then immediately went into the kitchen to clean the dishes. While cleaning dishes, she felt an intense force rushing on her to grab her. She felt the actual pressure on her left side from the disembodied voice coming up on her, and heard something make a sound to her left ear. She can't remember the exact sound, but when she originally told it was almost like a negative. It was almost a negative, sound instead. It wasn't a high pitched yell or anything, like a medium range sound. It made her jump, and she let out a loud shrieking sound. It was an intense, immediate feeling of panic when it happened. She said the feeling went away, and only after telling any negative spirits and energies to leave, and that they are not welcome here, and saying it out loud several times in the garage and inside the house while pasting a Bible on the object and holding a cross. At first, when it happened, she thought someone else was playing a trick on her in the house. The feeling of a male figure, she actually thought it was her husband coming up on her to mess with her, but there was no one around. The closest person was in the bathroom, quite a distance away, and another person was on a separate floor of the house. After hearing the shrieking, yelling sound, she made the family member of the bathroom quickly come into the kitchen and asked what just happened. It all happened very quickly around 5:40 p.m. local time. This is not the first time an object has been purchased, brought home, and very strange things. Brought home and very strange things started happening. For example, an antique wood clock was purchased in another state. It was a clock, an antique wood, huh? It was a clock that would have hung on the wall and had a very solid latch that would keep it closed. We would open we would take it down several times in the morning, and the clock would be completely open. We would basically go downstairs and sort of down several times in the morning, and the clock would be completely open, as if someone moved it over the latch and opened it up. Sometimes the TV would even be turned on to different screens in that same room, but no one messed with the clock, and no one turned on the TV. You would even hear people yelling out your name as if someone was calling for you, but no one was actually calling for you. After getting rid of the clock, these issues basically completely stopped. And today's example was the most negative feeling of all the paranormal experiences in this home. And again, things felt better after telling it to leave, and that it's not welcome there. The other experiences do not feel negative, maybe playful or trickster-like, but nothing negative. However, the name calling out has somewhat persisted or continued on, but is still very infrequently off and on. While writing this story, there were several electronic glitches where I wasn't able to write it out. Notepad would scroll up by itself and not let me copy the text. I wrote this long block of text, kept deleting itself in real time while I was watching the screen, so I had a copy and pasted it to a new note while trying to save the image. It froze my computer, and maybe it has nothing to do with it. It's just a software issue, but who knows? This item, as well previous purchase, was removed from the home. Goodwill. You put it to Goodwill, huh? Send it to Goodwill. Oh boy, I don't believe this is a case of an object attachment or possession. In fact, it seems to be an earthbound energy trying to seek attention. Maybe prone to call in a spirit rescuer and to see if the energy is willing to move on to another level, huh? Okay, that was an interesting story about a cryptid creature. Well, it was something we don't understand. I would say it's a cryptid. Let's see. Was a vampire and werewolf actually seen in Mineral Point, in a city known as Mineral Point? Well, that looks interesting, doesn't it, folks? The quaint community of Mineral Point, Wisconsin, in Iowa country, was apparently been in Iowa County, in Wisconsin, huh? Has apparently been the scene of several vampire encounters, as well at least a werewolf. And at least a werewolf. In 1981, reports began circulating about a vampire that had taken up residence in Mineral Point's Graceland Cemetery. Initial reports of activity in the graveyard prompted Officer John Pepper investigate while patrolling the area. Officer John, patrolling the area one evening, he entered the cemetery and began to make his rounds when he saw tall, caped figure with a white face. The vampire, startled by this intrusion, fled from the officer, who by instinct only gave chase until he saw the creature leap over a 6-foot barbed wire fence. The officer stopped in his tracks and returned to his squad car to make the report. He and the group of officers would return to the scene in the morning and attempt to follow the creature tracks in the still fresh snow. When Pepper led his companions to the area where the vampire had escaped, there were no tracks found on the other side of the fence. Not much would come of the event other than some ribbing by fellow officers. The story fell silent for quite some time until March 14, 2004, when police responded to several reports of someone sitting in a tree outside of an apartment complex would leap upon his victims as they passed. To enter the description given by the witness matched John Pepper's suspect from the Graceland Cemetery case. The creature remained in the scene until police arrived. They reported that a 6-foot caped figure leapt from the tree and fled. The police gave chase only to find that the footprints disappeared at a 10-foot concrete wall. The area was scoured, but not a sign of the creature was found beyond the concrete wall. Once again, the story fell silent until July 11th, 2008, when the police were dispatched again when a terrified young couple arrived at the station to report a tall, caped figure, white face, and had chased them. The witnesses, a young couple that were fishing off a jetty at Loudon Lake, reported they had heard noises coming from beneath them while finishing from the jetty. The couple stated that there was a scratching under the wooden surface and that they could hear splashing and something climbing up beneath them. One of the witnesses, Brendan Hines, stood and began to stomp on the jetty, thinking it was an animal and that the noise would scare it away. He reported that his stomping only drew the creature closer to them. He shined his flashlight between the bars of the jetty to see the caped figure climbing up beneath them. He froze in horror as his girlfriend Jamie had fled the scene. When the creature approached, Hines threw the flashlight at it and had fled behind Maker to their parked car, where she sat waiting for him with the doors locked. Hines entered the car and started the motor. He could see the caped figure speeding towards them. As he jammed the car in gear, the couple fled to the Mineral Point police station to file their report. 2 patrol units were dispatched to the site, but found nothing other than the young couple's fishing gear. But that was still accounted for, with the exception of the flashlight. Mineral Point was the first community settled in the area. Mining was the main attraction in the 1800s. The newly installed railway system brought wealth and population to the small town. It was where the tracks ended. There are many stories of ghosts and paranormal activity within the area. Perhaps one of the haunted legends of Mineral Point contains a clue where the vampire could have originated from. Now, it seems that these accounts are, 3 accounts are the only known sightings of this entity. Mineral Point may have also been the scene of werewolf as well. The scene of werewolf manifestation. Linda Goffrey's book, Haunting the American Werewolf in Wisconsin and Beyond, she writes that a woman identified as Kim contacted her about 1987 a werewolf sighting in Mineral Point. Kim says that in the middle of a spring afternoon, just before the full moon, she saw a werewolf running as it was transforming. She says the creature sprinted into it as it was transforming. She says the creature sprinted into a building, clutched a railing, and turned back into its human form. She said a group of about 15 to 20 people also witnessed the incident. Although Godfrey would never corroborate the story with any additional sources. Strange case of the vampire of Mineral Point. Case. A close friend currently lives in Mineral Point, so when they brought up the stories of a vampire, I thought it was worth a look. What are your thoughts on this entity? Oh, interesting. Very, very interesting. As I said, I wanted to look at this. There are also other ones we can look at as well. Where are you? Was it a dog one? Very interesting little stories we just encountered there. We also have these stories over here. Let's take a look at this one. Reason why big cats should be characterized. There's this big cat story we're going to look at. Let's see here. The reason why the alien big cats UK should be characterized under supernatural. Why the big cats should be under UK. Why the alien big cat should be characterized under supernatural. Okay, let's look at this. My previous article was a study of the fin and black dog. My phenomenon, as I noted, appears that, in centuries long gone, there were 2 types of mysterious black dogs, flesh blood ones and supernatural ones. The same can be said for the so-called alien big cats. ABCs of the UK. That's the theme of today's article. The two types, some of them are clearly normal large cats, but in a very alternative environments. The others, though, appear to be paranormal in nature, as you'll now see. Let's begin with the real ABCs, 80s. A puma who was Christian Felicity was found in Scotland. It was clear, however, that Felicity was very comfortable around people, and she was extremely tame. And on top of that, she clearly had not been in the wild for long at all. Scottish Big Cat Trust states Felicity the puma is often cited as evidence that there are non-native cats at large in the UK. Others believe that her capture was a staged event, while what seems to be certain is that she was a pet who had been released recently, and she was exceptionally tame. Felicity was also quite old and athletic after her capture. After her, well, and so she was kept in the Highland Park, where she became quite a celebrity. She died in 1985. She was stuffed and can still be seen in Venice Museum. All right. Okay, it's interesting. As well as puma lynx, been seen and found on a number of occasions. UK ocelots, a lynx has been seen and found on a number of occasions. Now, with that all said, let's take a look at the alien big cats in the United Kingdom. That seems to be supernatural, though many ABC we cringe and squirm when the matter is brought up. The fact is, there are more than a few reports and record that place the ABCs in a category that is less flesh and blood, based on far more paranormally themed. There are cases of the ABCs vanishing literally before the eyes of astonished witnesses. People report large black cat encounters in old graveyards within ancient stone circles, and even on a few occasions in association with UFO sightings. Whatever the truth of the matter, the ABCs of the UK, aren't going back anywhere. Aren't disappearing. Well, let's see. Summer of 2007, I spoke with Marcus Matthews, a researcher in mysterious big cats in the UK. He told me that he was then currently investigating a case involving a person who had seen a huge black cat. By the way, welcome to this Scumdogs Kennel. If you're watching, feel free to leave a few chats. We're having Scumdogs Kennel. We're having a cryptid corner tonight, and we're talking about various supernatural cryptids and stuff like that. What we're talking about here, a huge black cat sitting inside the confine. Yeah, let's get back to this article. He told me that he was then currently investigating a case involving a person who had seen a huge black cat inside the confines of a Worcestershire crop. Huh? A bunch of crops you saw. That they were growing some crops there, and they saw this alien big cat. So how do we define and explain such rogue reports as these? Answer, admittedly, that right now is that we can't. All I can say is this: if you ever find yourself deep in the heart of a huge crop circle, then I keep a careful watch. There may be something dangerous keeping its eyes on you, ready to pounce. And yeah, a lot of people they've seen various cryptids and other things in crop circles. It may very well be a supernatural nature too. After all, to find a huge black cat in a crop circle makes me suspect that we're dealing with a definitive paranormal activity. Now on to another example of the strange type. There's this. Look at that thing there, huh? Look at that. Ooh, it looks awesome. Looks cool. All right, James here is now a retired fireman who encountered just such a creature on a bright summer day and stuff like that in '78. Who I met in Exeter, England, in the summer 2001. At the time, James was living in Ebrook, which is a town at the English country of Devon, and which is noted for its long history of encounters with phantom black dogs. To what extent that is relevant is a matter of debate, but is intriguing according to him. Day in question, he was out walking with his spaniel dog, Sammy, held in hills, which provides an expansive view of the area, including the nearby city of Exeter. James and Sammy took a pleasant walk through the hills. They found themselves confronted by a very strange animal, around 50 or 60 feet away. A large black, cat rose out of the deep grass. First, James assumed it was a black Labrador. It was Well, Labrador was not. In mere seconds, James realized that what it was walking towards him and his frightful pet was a large ABC that resembled a mountain lion. Sammy whispered, and James' heart thumped when the animal reached a point around 20 feet from the terrified pair, something that provoked even more terror. Huge cat rose up onto its back legs. They were legs that appeared to be physically changed as it transformed from a four-legged animal to a bipedal one. The creature dematerialized. The pair fled. Well, dematerialized. So the cat shapeshifted, did it? Interesting. Very interesting. What do you think these people saw, huh? Very weird. Let's see. Let me get back to that. The terrified pair, something that terrified pair that provoked even more terror. The huge black cat rose up on its black legs and were legs that appeared to be physically changed as it transformed from a four-legged animal to bipedal one. The creature dematerialized. The pair fled the area. Interesting. I have to read that again. The terrified pair, something happened, provoked even more terror. The huge cat rose up onto its back legs. They were legs that appeared to be physically changed as it transformed from a four-legged animal. Bipedal one. The creature didn't materialize. The pair fled the area, so what on earth is going down? With stories of shapeshifting on ABCs hanging out in a crop circle, a large black cat vanishing before our startled eyes. Clear to me there is more going on than just a few escapees from a private enclosure. Far more complex. Millie Harper, an an expert on these alien big cats, suggests that these mysterious cats are likely daemons, supernatural entities that can be malevolent, helpful, or manipulative tricksters. They're not actually demons, they're daemons, thought forms, or something like this, supernatural creatures, even deadly depending on the type. Demons are generally friendly, while catechint demons should be avoided at all costs. We're not actually talking about demons from hell here, we're talking about more like tulpas or something like that, or close to it, maybe even ultra-terrestrials here. Well, at all costs. Some of these should be avoided at all costs. She wishes to see at least one wishes to see a bunch of bad luck. Entities that act as, act as basically go-betweens the world of man and domain of the gods. Daemons are shapeshifters that can manifest in multiple forms. If ABCs are a variety of native British demon, they have emerged into a landscape prideful intermediate beings. Pixies, gnomes, bogarts, Herne the Hunter, elves, lake monsters, white ladies, and so on. And, a bunch of other things. Yeah. That's interesting what we just read there. What do you think, these people actually encountered this stuff or what? By the way, folks, hit that like button for me. It really helps me fight the algorithm. So more people can see my content. And that means my graphic novel Scumdogs comes out all the sooner. Let's look at this right here. And by the way, hit that bell and hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications, as well as please go share this video on Twitter and Facebook. Phantom Black Dogs, supernatural ones and the flesh and blood ones. Let's look at this. His absolutely definitive book explores Phantom Black Dogs. Author and researcher Bob Towsey wrote the following. The folklore of Phantom Black Dogs is known throughout the British Isles. Black Shuck. There are tales of huge spectral hounds, darker than the night sky, with eyes glowing red, burning coals. While a number of intriguing theories exist to explain the presence and nature of such spectral like beasts, certainly the most ominous of all is that they represent some form of precursor, instigator of doom, tragedy, and death. One of the most infamous of all Black Dogs encounters in the British Isles happened at St. Mary's Church, Bringley, Suffolk, England, Sunday, August 4th. This is where they actually killed one of these Phantom Black Dogs and buried it. They found, guess what? People went later back a few years ago, dug up the grave where they said it was buried and found actual bones to a giant black dog. Well, giant bones to a dog. August 4th, 1577, when an immense and veritable spectral hound from hell materialized within the church during a powerful thunderstorm and mercilessly tore into the congregation. Yeah, with its huge fangs and razor-sharp claws. In fact, so powerful was the storm that it reportedly killed 2 men in the belfry as the church tower received an immense lightning bolt that tore through it and shook the building to its ancient foundations. Yeah. Basically, if you follow the story to an old local verse, all down the church, in the midst of the fire, the hellish monster flew, and passing onward to the choir, he many people slew. Then, just suddenly as it appeared, the beast bounded out of St. Mary's and was reported shortly thereafter at Billith Church, about 12 miles away, where it allegedly killed and mauled out even more people with his immense bone-crushing jaws. Maybe they didn't. This isn't the same story where they actually killed this dog. This could be a different one. So, but they did find the body of one of these creatures. It was a giant hound. With his immense bone-crushing jaws, and where it is said that, well, let's get back to this article. Immense bone-crushing jaws, and where it was said that scorch marks and the beast's claws can still be seen to this day, infamously imprinted upon the ancient door of the church. More intriguing is the fact that Brumley's legend of satanic black hound is like that of yet another local legend, Black Shuck, giant spectral dog that hunts the Norfolk and Suffolk coasts. Such is the popular the Bengal legend of the Shuck. It has resulted in an image of the beast being incorporated into the town's coat of arms and Black Dog's name of Bungley Town Football Club. Black Dogs, huh? Stark, disturbing, and memorable image, infamous devil dog, phantom hound, as described above, undoubtedly conjures up is that of a definitively sinister beast, stealthily prowls the towns and villages of ancient England, nothing more than a silvery moonlight or to the accompanying black background of a violent, crushing thunderstorm. However, well, yeah, to be said, however, a little-known fact outside of dedicated students of the phenomenon that sightings of such creatures have also taken place in modern times, both the 20th and 21st centuries, is evidenced by the following reports from my files. Now, however, we have to turn our attention to the phantom black dogs that were just as terrifying, but were completely flesh and blood than a paranormal black hounds. That's right. Phenomenon has two sides to it. Mark North, researcher and author who has dug deep into the legends of Britain's ghostly black hounds, says there are a lot of stories in there about the phantom black dogs. I've done a lot of investigations into the stories and myths around black dog tales. If you go back to the older traditions of black dogs, I think a lot of it has been invented. On the Dorset coast, for example, there was a very big smuggling trade going on for centuries. That happened centuries ago. I think a lot of the stories of these animals were invented to frighten people and keep them away from the smuggling areas. What was also happening around this time is that Dorset had a lot of connections with Newfoundland, and they used a lot of trading with the fishermen there. It was around this time the Newfoundland black dogs were brought over here to this country. So you have a new type of dog being brought over here, which is very large and that no one had ever seen before. Then you have these tales of large black dogs roaming around, smugglers invading these black dog tales. Mark is very keen to stress about that he doesn't accept that some such tales were created by smugglers to keep noisy villagers out of their hair. Also believes there is a real supernatural aspect. That such as the tales were created by smugglers, to the phantom black dog thing. All right. That's an interesting story. Let's go look at this one about sea monsters. Mysterious marine monster closes British beach, overturns boat, and, well, no one knows what it actually is. All right. Interesting stories have we read so far? August 4th, a man fishing from his kayak in the waters off Bucombe Beach in Dorset off the southwest coast of England was nearly capsized by a mysterious creature he could not identify. The beach was closed, Royal National Lifeboat Institution, but no creature was found. However, some reported splashes overheard lifeguards saying they haven't seen anything like it in 35 years, August 8th. Still classified as a large marine animal. Arguments between marine experts and lifeguards and fishermen resolved nothing on August 11th. A few miles away off the Brookside Beach, a swimmer practicing to swim around the island, bumped into what may have been the same mysterious creature. 50 of its friends, it had brought 50 of its friends. Well, maybe I should say, and a lot of its friends, basically 50 of them. There were signs of a larger marine life at Buckham Beach. The situation is being closely monitored by, lifeguards who are asking visitors to stay away from the water and have to put up red flags. Lifeguards flagged the beaches for a short period of time to investigate reports received unidentified marine life. We still have no confirmation of what this creature was. Everyone going into the sea should enjoy it, but as always, respect the water and exercise an apparent level of caution, including keeping around 200 meters from marine life. For you, for your safety. The film Earth Pact reported August 4th identified marine life encounter, which forced the RNLI to clear the waters. Okay. And send lifeguards out on jet skis. Witnesses estimate the mysterious sightings kept them out of the water for an hour. That might have been the end of it, except for Darren Tapper, who was fishing from his kayak at Bitchcomb's Beach around the same time. I was pulling a lure back into shore. I was pulling a lure, and then something grabbed that. I almost turned over in a kayak. I spun around and saw a big shadow. When I got back the beach, the jet ski was being launched, and the lifeguards were telling everybody to go get out of the water. I know what fish are. If it was something big, as fishermen, I've never heard of a shark in these waters, so that was the last thing on my mind. Tapper told the Bournemouth Echo, found a hole in his kayak and felt lucky to be alive, especially because he didn't think it was a shark, though I don't know what else would have the power that was on August 4th. Dorset Echo followed on August 8th. The RNLI reported that it still hadn't determined what the mysterious marine animal was. Sarah Hutchison, Coastal Center's assistant, Dorset Wildlife Trust, told the Echo British sharks aren't considered to be dangerous or aggressive to humans, and the biggest ones, basking sharks, eat only plankton. So Tapper's encounter is highly unusual. Peter Tinsley, the marine policy and evidence manager, Dorset Wildlife Trust, confirmed this, saying local sharks wouldn't take a lure. He thought it might be a bluefin tuna or a large sunfish. Before we set off, I had joked about being attacked by sharks, and we were laughing about it. Then, during the swim, I started getting bumped and things were nibbling my hands and feet, the parts of which weren't covered by my sweatsuit. It was pretty unnerving at first, but when I realized what it was, I just enjoyed the experience, which was amazing. It was fantastic to see so many sharks wild, just behaving naturally. It's natural for sharks to nibble on your hands and feet. Long-distance swimmer Rush apparently thinks so. He told the Burnt Echo that on night of August 11th, he was training in Brookside Beach, 5 miles from Beachcombs, when he encountered, when he thought it was a few sharks. However, when his support kayak actually flashed his light on the water, Russia estimated they saw at least 50. Could one of these sharks have been the mysterious creature that shut down Beachcomb Beach and attacked Tapper in his kayak? Does anyone really think it was a giant sunfish? These sharks don't care for humans. Why were they testing Russia's feet and hands? Or why are they doing that? What is with it? What did they actually see there, huh? Very interesting. That I think I'll move on to a different article now. We looked at this, but let me go down here. Affidavit, the very weird kind, Bigfoots and sea serpents and UFOs. You can look at that. Let's see. Let's see this one right here. Merriam-Webster says that what defines an affidavit? Latin affidavit means someone has sworn an oath. An affidavit is always a sworn written document. It contains if it's a lie, contains a lie, the person making it may be prosecuted. Yeah. Affidavits are often used in court when it isn't possible for someone to appear in person. Police officers must usually file an affidavit with a judge to get a search warrant. Affidavits, unlike similar signed statements called dispositions, are usually made without an opposing lawyer being present, able to ask questions. With that said, let's now take a look at some very strange affidavits. We'll begin with a tale of nothing less than a sea serpent. It's not often that one sees a story of a giant monster splashed on the front page of the New York Times. That, however, is exactly what happened. July 1st, 1908. The article headline, 200-foot sea serpent, was sighted at 3 Bells Gulf of Mexico. What was sighted was witnessed at 3 Bells Gulf of Mexico. Enormous rattles on its tail The staff said what is currently believed to be a sea serpent has been sighted and nearly inspected by the officer's crew and 15 passengers of the steamship Livingstone, Texas Mexican line. Well, Texas, huh? All of the witnesses made affidavits to this to effect before United States Consular Agent Charles W. Rickland of Frontario. The strange statement is signed by Captain A.J. Wilson, the other officers of George Thomas at Denver, Albert Dean, Memphis H. He B. Studdard in Byron, Texas, Miss Jessie Thornton, Chicago, 11 passengers in the substance, declares that at 3 bells in the evening, June 24th, Livingston bound from Galveston to Frontera, Mexico, from Galveston, going under good weather, and about 50 miles north of Fronterio, the Serpent was sighted off the port bow. The ship got within 60 feet of the creature and for 15 minutes stood while all on board viewed the Serpent through the glasses. It was apparently sleeping and not less than 200 feet long, of about the diameter of a flour barrel in the center of the body, but was not as round now. Let's take a look at another strange creature, Bigfoot. August 26, 1957. August 1957 marked the date upon which one of the strangest and most controversial affidavits of all time was prepared and signed. Man that made the sworn statement was William Rowe of Alberta, Canada. The affidavit made so strange and controversial due to the fact that it detailed Rowe's very own encounter of an extremely close encounter with a large female Bigfoot. Rowe began ever since I was a small boy back in the forest of Michigan. I have studied the lives and habits of wild animals. Later, when I supported my family in northern Alberta by hunting and trapping, I spent many hours just observing the wild things. They fascinated me. The most incredible experience I ever had was with a wild creature occurred near a little place called Titjun Cache, about 80 miles west of Jasper, Alberta. Had been working on the highway near this place, Titjun Cache, for about 2 years. Here's still from, here's a famous still from that famous Bigfoot footage, the Patterson Gimlin footage. Yeah, Patterson. October 1955, Rowe decided to climb up 5 miles up Mecca Mountain to an old reserved mine just for something to do. I came inside the mine about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. After an easy climb, I had come out about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. After an easy climb, I had just come out of the patch of low brush into clearing when I saw what I thought was a grizzly bear in the bush. Other side, I had shot a grizzly near that spot the year before. It soon became apparent that the creature in this midst was no bear. This was only about 75 yards away, but I didn't want to shoot it. I didn't want to shoot it, for I had no way of getting it out. So I sat down on a small rock and watched with my rifle in my hand. Could just see a pair of animal's head on the top of the one shoulder. And a moment later, it raised up and stepped out into the opening. I saw it wasn't a bear; it was a Bigfoot. So amazed by what he'd seen, Rowe had no problem about bringing an affidavit into the controversy. Now let's take a trip to Roswell, so to speak, back in 1947, when the legendary even occurred. William Hutt. Walter here was the public information officer, Roswell Military Base. He said in 1993 of a David, in July 1947, I was stationed at the Roswell Army Base, serving as the base public information officer. Back then and stuff like that, I received a call from Colonel William, the base commander, who said he had in his possession a flying saucer as parts of thereof. He said it came from a ranch northwest of Roswell, and that the base intelligence officer, Major Jesse Marcel, was going to fly the material over to Fort Worth. Hutt also said, I believe Colonel Blanchard saw the material because he said, Colonel William here, Blanchard material, because he sounded positive about what the material was. There was no chance that he would have mistaken it for a weather balloon. Neither is there any chance that Major Marshall either. Okay, interesting little articles there we just wrote. But let's look at some more supernatural cryptids, huh? Let's see. We could look at this one, or we could go over here. Let's see. Possible dogman, strange anomalies that camp. God's celestial ambassador of lifetimes. Let's see. Large bird wing, strange man. Mother saves son from Cro-Magnon. Man, was it Bigfoot or something? Was it Bigfoot or something worse? Let's see. God's celestial ambassador. Pale crawler humanoid seen roaming Hamilton country. Was Bigfoot or something worse? Let's go to this article first. Two friends in camping in Black Canyon. If I already read this story, I'll move it to a different one. I'm just campgrounds near Playerson, Arizona. One night, an unknown creature was seen peering into the back window of the witness. The following account was recently posted on social media. By the way, folks, hit that like button for me, will you? It really helps me fight the algorithm, so more people will be able to see my my content. And the more people that see my content means my graphic novel Scumdogs comes out on Indiegogo all the sooner. I work on it every day, folks. As well as please leave some chats. I love to hear from you guys, as well as hit that bell and hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications. Early spring 2016, I just turned 24 years old. My friend and I had reached our main spot at Camp Black Canyon Rim Campground just outside Patterson, Arizona. We usually travel out there 2 or 3 times each year. Some incredible views and only a couple of hours away from the city. For the most part, this area was pretty secluded, privately owned. Convenience store rested a few miles away. Small town 20 miles before. That the entrance was on a dirt road directly off the highway with a campground was a sign at the start of the road, making local wildlife, any fire hazards, and general news relevant to camping folk. The pathing is mostly linear and maybe one folk spanning several miles. We once traveled down the dirt road to see how far it would take us. One of the paths would take you to another highway entrance when a ranger's tower halfway there. The other path led to a dead end. An abandoned cabin can be found on this path a few miles and mostly hidden off in the distance behind some large foliage. Snow had mostly cleared at this point, leaving the crisp air a slight chill and fun of becoming active again. We'd usually spot some wild horses, several deer, and tons of little critters when they would come out this way. It really was the perfect time of the year for a relaxing trip to get away from the city. We got on around 4 p.m. got in around 4 p.m. on Tuesday. It was late for us, as we'd usually try to make it out there by noon at latest. This trip was pretty spontaneous. We had both had work during the coming weekend and decided to just go for it. Sun was setting fast, and we still hadn't picked up our spot to camp. This might actually be something I read before, folks. Sorry about that. Well, there were maybe 2 other groups. Both families parked somewhat close to the entrance, only a few hundred feet away from the highway. This time around, we just waited to get away from the humans for a while. Customer service jobs will do that to you. We drove down the dirt road past our usual spot and finally picked the perfect area. A small clearing just hanging off the edge of a hill. The whole valley could be seen from this area with a beautiful sunset. This would have been our main spot from then on if the next incident never happened, that is. We agreed to get a campfire going and would just avoid building a tent this trip. We didn't have much time to do so anyway, and her car wasn't that uncomfortable. I'd sleep in the back seat and she'd take the passenger seat with the windows slightly ajar. We'd have a few blankets for each of us and would fall into the unraveled slumber. Oh, yeah. This is where basically they saw a Bigfoot staring in at them from the window, and it freaked them both out. They drove away. They didn't know if it was actually a Bigfoot. All they saw was a big, scary, hairy face staring in at them. So they don't know what they saw. I remember now. Maybe I should go to a different story, though. Truly bizarre. Humanoid pale crawler human seen roaming hell country. Hairy quadruped cryptid trailed in northwest Tennessee. Quadruped. Maybe for something like that. It was Bigfoot or something worse. Don't say the words like that. Large bird-winged gargoyle perched on Catholic church. Maybe. Oh, wait a minute. Have I actually finished off this? Yeah, I read this a few days ago, didn't I? Did I finish it off? I'm not quite sure. Let me go down here. This is about this negative being these people encountered. Yeah. Unknown negative being pursues couple at Florida. I read this yesterday, didn't I? At least part of it. Did I get all of it? My friend stepped aside and looked at it, right? I was confused until Charlie Locks. We were running. We could hear something on the roof. Others. Yeah. This is about that other story. Now, we had some fun tonight, didn't we? We looked at some supernatural stories and had some fun about supernatural cryptids and stuff like that. We read a few more stories and stuff like that about various things and stuff like that, Bigfoot and stuff like that. We had fun reading about these stories and what they could possibly be. Are people actually encountering these alien big cats, as well as are people actually seeing these big black dogs, hellhounds? I mean, definitely people have found real evidence of hellhounds, physical evidence, but they're just the bones of dogs, very large dogs. They did, because I know that has happened. Some people dug up the grave of a supposed hellhound that had been killed, and they found the bones of a very large dog in it. So that does prove that these things do exist, but are they actually supernatural? We don't know. We just know that they existed. Well, I mean, there was no evidence; it was just the bones of a big dog and stuff. So there's that as well to be said. But it's all very fun to read and stuff to learn about, huh? Now, folks, I'm going to have to end my live stream. Please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics that are bad for you. I read kind of like that and stuff. I mean, I would love to read another cryptid story and stuff like that. Just a quick one and stuff like that. Mainly because the other one I already read and stuff. I was trying to find a story to like that. Maybe cryptids, plants, feline, alien big cats. Maybe I should do. I just kind of want to basically cat fox. Maybe just it depends how big. Here it is. Cat fox is a possible new species and carnivore discovered off an island. It was first discovered Swiss-based environmental group WWF 2003 using a nighttime camera trap at Canyon Mountain National Park. The mammal is slightly larger than a cat, red fur, long tail, and hind legs that are longer than the front legs. It was overall appearance somewhat between a cat and a fox. In some ways, it resembles the Phos Cryptocrypta ferox of Madagascar. The WWF plans to set traps to capture and study the animal. Proves to truly be a new species. It will be the first new carnivore discovered in Borneo since the Borneo ferret badger in 1895. Other new mammals are discovered in Borneo with some regularity. For example, the rodent predation option in 1993 and the bat Motus Gardamandinskas in 1998. Some individuals speculate the animal in the photograph is a known but exceedingly rare species, Hose's palm cavert Doppler hosey. However, a new report published by Eric Andrew C. and Chris Simon in 2007 suggests that animal photograph may not be a carnivorian after all, but one of the area's large flying squirrels. The genus is possible Tom's flying squirrel. Other skeptics claim that it may be a red giant flying squirrel. Because you don't think there can be anything new can be found. Of course not. How annoying. That was interesting to read, though. I could let that. Maybe just do one more before we end this live stream. Various cryptid creatures here. Trying to find other cryptid supernatural natural creatures. Maybe just a quick look at this. I mean, we looked at the other one. I kind of want to just do a quick little story here. Having trouble finding one. Just a quick one. Let's see. Just a quick little story before I end my live stream and all that. Alien Bigfoot. I mean, how big is this one? Maybe a little. Okay. Alien Bigfoot is a cryptid that is typically sighted shortly after UFO sighting. The sighting are mainly in Pennsylvania on the night of July 31st. 66, a group of friends were having a vacation at a local beach in Erie, Pennsylvania. When they went to leave, their tire was stuck in the mud. One of the boys went to find a tow truck, leaving the boy and the other two girls alone. Several hours passed, and the friend wasn't back. Then in the night sky, they saw a figure flying in the sky. They took a close look and didn't know what it was. Then a purple flash of light beamed the sky, and the UFO-like figure summoned a bluish-purple light to the ground and flew off. Then a policeman showed up, wondering why they were still sitting there at the late time it was. They explained that they were stuck and that they were waiting for the friend to get back. Officer offered to go take a look, so the other boy went along, leaving the two girls alone. Later, they saw something rustling in the bushes. 6 to 8 foot tall figures trudged out, growled at the two. They were very frightened. The beast ran up and attacked their car. Eventually, when they got back, girls told their tale. Another sighting took place in 1966 in a very southern part of Pennsylvania. A woman was sitting in a chair in 1966. Then she heard something on her back porch. She thought a pack of dogs had returned, so she got her gun. When she got out, she saw a hairy human about 50 feet away. She took a shot at it, but it was teleported away. Then, when she got out and saw a hairy human, then her son-in-law came over with his gun. Then about 8 of the creatures appeared and growled at them. He ran away and dropped his flashlight. Signs were active, but now they don't happen too often anymore. Okay, that's interesting to read, and that'll end my storybook. Well, that'll end this what I'm doing here right now. I think that's good enough. Maybe I should also, let's do that. Or maybe I should do, yeah. Either way, folks, I'm going to end my live stream. Please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you, okay? We had some fun like that. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that like button because it helps me fight the algorithm, so more people will see my content. And that means more people will. That means I'll get my graphic novel Scumdogs out to you all the sooner. Remember, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. The there is misspelled. It's THERE. Hit that bell. Hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications for my videos. Also, please go share this video out on Twitter and Facebook. And leave some comments down below. I love to hear from you guys. As well as, please go and share this video on Twitter and Facebook. Remember, folks, go and subscribe to Stitched Together Pics. Stitched Together Pics is a YouTube channel that makes some great content. You're going to love his reviews of movies. He plays this character called the maniacal cinephile who has multiple personality disorder. So you're getting a bunch of fun watching his videos because the maniacal cinephile, as well as the characters he plays, it's just fun. Go and subscribe to Stitched Together Pics, as well as go over and subscribe to Creepy Little Book. Creepy Little Book is like the Art Bell radio show. He just live streams every night. He also makes little videos talking about high strangeness, but he does live streams every night. He live streams on weekdays at 12:30 a.m. and on weekends at 10 o'clock p.m. He talks about aliens and ghosts, and you learn so much from watching his live streams. Go and subscribe to Creepy Little Book. Also, go over on YouTube and subscribe to Robot Co-op. Robot Co-op is another YouTube channel that deserves far more subscribers. They do these live streams with these robot puppets, and they're just so good to watch. Go and subscribe to Robot Co-op. Remember, folks, I'll be back again tomorrow around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock p.m. for another live stream. Okay? I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me.